everyone. My name is Jenna, but you guys can call me Jen. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Hi, hello, welcome to the start of a little bit of a writing vlog, a little experimental writing vlog, which I teased in one of my reading vlogs, my weekend vlogs. This, my friends, is the beginning of the March experiment. It is officially March 3rd today. It is Tuesday. Here's what I want to do in March. I would like to write for at least an hour every day that I can, taking a break on the 2 days that I work 2 jobs, which are Mondays and Tuesdays. So, Wednesday to Sunday, I'm going to be, hopefully, that is the goal, writing for at least an hour every day. I would like to set up some kind of a routine so that I'm not doing that hour maybe at like 11 p.m., 12 p.m., 1 a.m. kind of a thing. Because if you've been following on my channel for a while, you know that I am a night owl and it's getting detrimental. So on Mondays and Tuesdays, I teach after my regular day job. I go and I teach piano. I just got home from piano. I'm home early because my last student didn't come, but this is not the usual time that I come home. I'm usually home after 9 p.m. So Mondays and Tuesdays are kind of write-offs for me because by the time I get home, Mondays I also have to edit my weekend vlogs, all that kind of stuff. It's late. I'm tired, brain's exhausted, what have you. But all the other days, I would like to write for at least an hour every day. That's going to look different day to day. Some days, that hopefully the majority of the days at least, it's going to be hands on the keyboard, writing, getting those words down. I'm going to be working on Sage Story or Far Horizons Book 1. This is the next big work in progress that I have. This is my epic fantasy mystery that is in the vein of Critical Role's Mighty Nine and also Empire of Exiles and the Raven Scholar. We have a little bit of that going on, and then a touch of like necromancy, Pirates of the Caribbean vibe, if you will. This is what's going on. We are having D&D, we're having Found Family, all that goodness. Far Horizons. Book 1 needs to be drafted. And that's what I would like to do as much as I can in March. I would like to really get into a groove, but I don't want to set myself up for failure by doing like, oh, I want to write for 4 hours a day on top of my 9 to 5, right? That's a little crazy for me personally. Hello, my darling, my little baby Kim. She jumped up. Hey, boo-boos, you want to say hello to the vlog? Ooh, she's sniffing the mic. There she is. Hi, Bubba's. This is the microphone. Yes. But yeah, so I wanted to set myself up to do something that I feel like I could actually do, which is write for an hour. Whether that is settling into the story. I feel like the first few days is going to be me rereading a lot of what I've written already. I've got about 18,000 words in the draft. What I would like to do is starting tomorrow, because I don't know if I have the energy tonight, but hey, maybe it'll be tonight too. My water heater died today, so I don't have any hot water. So that is currently what's on my mind. I got to send photos to my guy who's going to be here tomorrow. So hopefully if he can come by tomorrow. Not ideal. Woke up this morning, wanted to shower, didn't have any hot water. So that was fun. So I don't know if I have the energy to necessarily sit down and write tonight, but maybe I can sit down and for an hour just like look at my document. Who's to say? I'm considering an hour of writing, an hour of literally anything. If I want to spend it brainstorming, if I want to spend it actually writing, if I want to spend it rereading what I have, what have you, an hour of work on my story every day in March that I can, minus Mondays and Tuesdays. That is the plan, my friends. That is going to occur. What would I like done by the end of March? I had a good chunk of words. That's really it. I would like to have a good chunk of words done by the end of March, but more so, I would like to actually have a little bit of a routine back with my writing to like feel like it's a part of my day to day. I miss that. I definitely do miss that day to day kind of structure of writing that like NaNoWriMo used to give me, that kind of a thing. It's been a long time since I've straight drafted a book, so we're getting back to it, my friends. It's going to be a good time. We're going to be fantasy mystery all over the place. I have an entire timeline that I set up a couple of weekends ago, I believe. I think it was last weekend or 2 weekends ago. I don't know. At some point in February, I set up a whole 7-day timeline that I want this book to fall over. I was setting up different plot beats, different scene beats, all that kind of stuff on that timeline. So I have that ready to go. I have my outline. I mean, both of them are technically outlines at this point. I have my characters, all that kind of stuff. So really what we are going to be doing with draft 1 of Far Horizons is just fucking writing the story down and getting it out of my head onto paper, scene by scene by scene. It's going to be messy. It's going to be weird. I just want it down so that I can put it to the side and then come back to it a little later this year in a month or whatever, and start making it better. Starting piecing it together, making the story really strong, making my character growth really strong, all that kind of stuff. And then I can start getting it ready for querying, which is the stretch goal for this year, to have it ready for querying in 2027. But for now, March, the goal, get some words down. That's literally, I'm not even giving myself a number because I don't know how many numbers of thousands of words I'll get done in March. Second goal, to feel like I've kind of set up a routine for myself, even if it's a little baby routine, just that I can incorporate in my life again and then go from there. And I also just want to feel happy writing again. So welcome to the vlog. Welcome to my little writing vlog that we're doing in March. We shall see. I'm a yapper, which we know. So buckle in. This is probably going to be a long one, but I'm excited. Let's get back to Far Horizons and my little girl Sage and her whole gang of people, Lara and Ku and Xantar and Drift. We're getting to it, my friends. Let's do it. Hello, friends. Okay, it is officially March 8th today. I have been doing this challenge for a number of days. I come to report my findings. My findings, aka what I've been doing for the past little bit. Also kind of things that I want to do now going forward. So on the 4th, it was my very first hour of work doing said experiment. I was very, very tired. It was a whole fucking day because the day before that, my water heater went out, so I hadn't showered in like 2 days. I had a guy in my apartment fixing my water heater in the morning, and then I had therapy at noon, and then I had a meeting that ended up being canceled at work, and it was a day. So I only did about an hour total of work, but I ended up reworking the beginning of Sage's opening chapter, so the very first chapter of the book, and I read through it and Lara's chapter in total. So a little bit of rereading, a little bit of reorienting in the story. I was happy with that. We love. March 5th, I ended up doing a little bit of scene planning because if you saw my writing vlog go up, I don't even know what day it was the beginning of March sometime, I ended up mentioning an author by the name of Sarah Mughal Rana and how she warms up before writing. She ends up sketching out kind of like for a scene coming up that she's writing, she sketches out like the beats of the scene, key actions, emotional arc if there is one, dialogue and whatever. So I wrote down like what she does, and then I decided, okay, like on the 5th I was like, all right, let me see if I can plan out the next scene that I want to write, because I ended up rereading the chapter before, like the very last chapter that I had written, and it's from Lara's point of view, so it's a Lara chapter. And I was like, okay, like let's see if I can like paint this in a specific kind of way, if I can like plan out this scene in any way. And so I did that. Ended up planning said scene, and in doing so, I kind of sat here and was like, okay, like I kind of need more of a list of people that I know that are in this world, that are in this village, if you will. So I went back into a previous planning document that I had made. I believe it was a Google Sheets that I had done with characters from Far Horizons that I initially had planned to essentially roll out as like ever-changing kind of character Bible type of situation. I wanted to track how the relationships moved and changed in the story, if you will. I ended up going through writing down the names of the characters that I have in Anchorage, and also then adding a number more, and then also thinking about what they do on Anchorage, because I realized I hadn't actually done that yet, which is crazy. So I started doing that, and then I started thinking about like, okay, well, who would be a suspect, maybe like who would be suspicious in this world, who would my characters interact with, all sorts of stuff like that. I think it's been fascinating to really figure out like also who has magic and who doesn't, also just kind of like how the fucking village works, because I know there are so many people on this island that like my characters probably wouldn't really come in contact with, but I need names of people and characters, and like I need the healer of the town, I need the farmers, I need the bee people, I need the librarian, like I need all these different people there, right? And I'm fleshing out the actual village at this point. I also came up with some names for the kids, because the kids are going to have an interesting part in this. And then I started getting in my head about the fact that I don't actually know a number of things with regards to my villain. So I sketched out some direct kind of clues that my gang will either come across, whether they think about them or it's just for the reader to see, that are like scattered throughout the whole book, kind of a thing, so that, like, you know, when the full picture is there, it's like an oh my god, it's them kind of a moment, if you will. And then that kind of it brewed a new character into my head, one that I knew existed but I didn't have a name for or a backstory for. So I came up with her. Then on the 6th of March, I ended up skipping that day because I was just so done and it was the end of the week. Fridays are really like a non-brain day for me, I found out. So skipped Friday. Saturday, I went to McNally Robinson on like a little solo date type situation. I was meeting my friend there for to attend an author signing for, where's the book? Sarah K. L. Wilson's A Trident and the Pearl. I brought my book with me, my notebook, and I ended up having dinner on my own and just kind of having a little solo date beforehand. Very fun. I ended up sitting there and kind of doing some like vague brainstorming on who this character is. And that was really fun. It just kind of sparked that, like a little bit of backstory. And then I got an idea for a story thing that I'm going to have to add in, which is interesting to me. I don't even know how to explain it. I can't tell you what it is because it's like a big spoiler of like something that is revealed to the characters near the end. So I thought that would be interesting. And then I finally wrote some words yesterday. We opened up the document. We fucking did it, my guys. We opened up the document and I wrote 791 words because I went in and I started in the scene that I had planned out on the 5th. I started in that scene and then I got distracted and then remembered that I wanted to add this new thing in. So I was like, okay, well, if I do that, I have to kind of lay a little bit of groundwork right at the beginning. So I went back a number of chapters and reflowed a couple things because I wanted to make sure that it made sense. Like this thing that I'm adding in at the end. I did that, added 791 words. We love that. Now, this week, a lot of what I've been doing has been just sitting here on my couch and like twiddling my thumbs until like 8 or 9 p.m. and then doing a little bit of work for about an hour. Or like every once in a while, I'll steal like 10, 15 minutes of my day sitting at my desk there and I'll do a little bit of work that way. And then I just end up coming to it again at like 8 or 9 p.m. So even 10 p.m. sometimes, right? So I know myself, and I had this conversation with my therapist this week about my absolutely abysmal sleep schedule and the number of different things regarding that. But it's the fact that I feel like I can't really be me or have my own time to exist until later hours. Like I've always described it as I am most awake at like 9 o'clock at night. And it feels like I can finally get my like evening started at about 9 o'clock, which is crazy because I'm done work at 4:30. So what happens to those hours at 4:30 to 9 o'clock? They vanish. They just don't exist to me sometimes. Like I'll make dinner and I'll sit on my couch and suddenly it's 9:30, 10. And I'm just like, what the fuck happened to my time after work? So I'm trying to like recalculate the brain. Also, on Mondays and Tuesdays, it doesn't count because Mondays and Tuesdays I go work, I go teach, right? So I have the 2 jobs. Anyways, so this is starting to annoy my face. I won't lie. It's starting to annoy my face. And I know the reason why I'm like this. I've been decoding it in therapy now. So something that I'm slowly starting to work on and starting to become more aware of. Like right now it's 7 p.m. and I'm trying to like remind myself. No, it's not 7 p.m. It's 8 p.m. because time changed. I haven't changed that clock yet. Jesus Christ. I'm trying to remind myself I can exist at this time too because it's not like I'm catering to anyone else. It's me, all this kind of stuff. So what I want to do this week going forward, because it is Sunday today, so I would like to get a little bit of work done tonight on Sage's story as well. Like my hour of work, I want to get that in tonight at some point. So maybe after I'm done this, done this clip, what I want to do this week. So Mondays and Tuesdays, I'm going to take off. But I would like to Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday try after work to do an hour of work at my desk. Like after my day job is done, pull out my computer, pull up the Scrivener doc and my notebook and just try and get some words done there or some work done there. I also have my fancy keyboard that I bought myself for finishing a favorite Fae that I would really like to actually use. So that is kind of my goal this week, is to see how that will work and to get the hour done of work early in the evening and see how that kind of changes my workflow and changes my just perception of doing the creative time to like kind of build it into my day rather than have it be something that I have to do at the end of my day. You know what I mean? So that's what I would like to do this week to try it out. And hopefully I don't have anything too crazy going on with work I don't think so. I just have the 1 meg, potentially 2. So it's not like I'm going to be doing like late days. And even if I do a late day at work, I could just start my hour at 5 or at 5:30 or whatever, right? Like I can do that and then just get the hour done before I leave my desk is kind of the idea. So before I like kind of leave work mode and go into goblin scrolling mode, and then at like later time of day trying to remind myself that I have to do some creative stuff. I don't know. I want to give it a try. I want to kind of build that cuz that was the original idea I had in my head of like building an hour a day at least into my day for creative work specifically, and to do that then before my brain clocks out for the day, and like to do it while it's still daylight out, I think is really what my brain wanted to do, to see if I could even do that, because I've always been such a late night writer. Like I always end up getting my most words in like 9, 10, 11 p.m., 1, 2 in the morning, right? Like I remember writing until 2 in the morning so many times. Like that is the time where my brain just seems to crack open, but like it's not very conducive to work life balance. You know what I mean? So I would like to see what I can do this week. Really is the goal. I would like to do that, and I would like to not sit on my couch to write. I think staying at my desk and writing there with my fancy keyboard is going to kind of change my perception of like working on it and seeing how much I can do within an hour time span, whether that like time deadline gives me a little bit more motivation to get words down. I don't know. And I really like the idea of like sketching out a scene as I did with the previous scene. I still haven't actually finished writing the scene, so maybe that's what I'll do today. But I really like the idea of like sketching out like, okay, what comes next. So I think I'm going to try also implement that into my writing times, just to see if I can like plan what scene is coming, sketch out the beats that I want to do, and then actually write it. I want to see if doing that little bit of a setup routine helps at all. That's the update, my friends. I'm feeling good. Thank fuck we are back to it. We have hit 19,000 words in the draft. I am filling up this notebook like crazy. My brain is always going. I'm realizing also that I have so much left to figure out with this book. And I know that's going to come after the first draft. Like I keep telling myself, like there's so much lore that I want to figure out. There's so much intricacy with the characters and like little things that I want to make sure I'm getting across. And I just have to remind myself that that's not something I need to figure out before I even start writing. This is something that I can smooth out after the story is fucking out of my head. Because if I keep letting myself get bogged down in these little details of planning and like sitting here and being like, oh, I need to figure this out, or oh, I need to do this, I'm just gonna get so bogged down and I'm never gonna fucking write the book. So we're gonna get this fucking draft out of me. This messy first draft, the zero draft, the garbage draft, whatever you want to call it. I'm getting it out of my head, and then I can come back and figure out the things that I want to figure out and layer into this book and make it better and what have you, right? Also, right now, there are a couple auctions going on. One of them is specifically centered around Ramadan, and then there's another one that is the Queer Liberation Foundation, I believe. That's another one that started up, so like it opened up today, and I believe it's closing on March 14th. In these auctions, there's always query letter critiques, query package critiques, manuscript critiques, all sorts of stuff. And this Ramadan auction, there are so many options for that just like it's not a very popular auction, which I wish it was more popular so that more people would like, donate and raise money for this. But I'm also a little glad because as someone who doesn't have a lot of like income to drop on this kind of stuff, love having actually like a chance at getting some of these auctionable things. And I've ended up, I don't know if I can access it on my iPad here, but I don't have my Gmail on here, but going to also look more in depth at what all is offered on the Ramadan one tonight, because it's ending in like an hour. Just so I make sure, like I have a bid in on one, but it's only for like $35. So I feel like I could also look at some other stuff just to see. But what I'm specifically looking for is because I previously did that with Sage of Stories query letter that I did last year sometime. I did a whole video on it of writing my very first query letter, all this kind of stuff, and then getting feedback from someone, which was feedback that I won through an auction. And I would really like to get a package through this one that is a query letter critique. I believe the one that I've got is through an author specifically. The next auction, there's more options for like agents and editors that I would love to have an agent's point of view as well, because the last time I did this, it was just a publishing professional. Catherine was a publishing professional. She was not specifically an agent. This time it's an author, which I think is really, really cool. And she's also like, I looked her up and she's really fun. The one that I'm currently bidding on, and I think I'm going to win because it ends very soon and I haven't, like, no one else has bid on it. It's just me. So the one that I think I'm going to get is for this author who is a like doctorate of like Gothic studies and stuff like that. And she's releasing a cozy book soon, which I think is so fun. She just seems really cool. I also just want to be friends with her. So I'm going to take this opportunity to make connections, to do my networking, if you will. I do it at every author event too in my city. I always bring, speaking of, I need to make another order of my bookmark business cards. If you are an indie author, make bookmark business cards and bring them with you everywhere because they are so handy to have. I've brought one with me to every author event I've ever gone to, and I've given it to the author that like we're talking with, and I always make it very clear that I am an author as well, and like all this kind of stuff. And I'm always interested in their discussion, and I always ask questions during the question period because I want to make sure that like I'm kind of making connections. Some of the authors in my city kind of, I think they recognize me. I don't know if they know my name, but Nisha J. Tooley was here again, and we went to her signing a couple years ago, and it was just like I was like, oh, it's really nice to see you again, Nisha, and like I was tagging her on social and stuff. Networking, my guys. Anyways, what I'm trying to say with this, I'm very excited about this opportunity because this package specifically is a query letter critique, and I believe either a first chapter or first 10 pages critique. I will have to double check what this one is because I've looked at so many listings that there's so many different ones. What I would really like to do is, once I win this, I'm going to rejig the query letter that I previously did with Catherine. I'm going to take Catherine's advice, put it into this query letter, do a whole new thing, and then polish up my first however many pages they want and then get feedback on that. I think that would be really, really fun. And then the other auction, I'm going to do something very similar. I think I'm going to try get a package that is either like a first chapter and a query letter, or there's a couple on there that are manuscript critiques that are like 30 or 50 pages, or a full 100,000 word critique, which I am secretly eyeing that one because I know my book is going to be over 100,000 words. So I'm eyeing it also as a possibility of like, if I try to win that, I wonder if I could use that as incentive to get this book fucking done. You know what I mean? And try keep it really, really, really snappy. So like around the 100,000 word mark, because if it's for this critique, like I think that could be very helpful. I don't know. Those always seem to go, those specific listings in a lot of these auctions seem to go for very, 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 very expensive, which like valid because that is an incredible amount of work. And I think is huge. There's another one on there that's also like, it's a service that someone offers, and they're like offering up a package of one of their services that is like a developmental edit for your book, which I think would be so handy to have. So I'm eyeing that auction specifically for the queer liberation thing, and it is going to be done before this video goes up, so I apologize, but always keep your eyes out on the 32 something auctions. Like there's always some sort of auction going on. They're bookish, and the bookish ones always seem to have authorly stuff in there as well, like editor stuff. There's also a ton of like picture book, graphic novel, and YA and middle grade stuff that are offered up by those professionals in the industry. So I think that's awesome. Anyways, I wanted to bring that up because I'm going to probably do a specific video on those once I have whatever I win and end up getting solidified. So at least for this first one, it's going to be a query package of some kind. So at least I know what I can do with that. That's exciting. I love that. And we love also supporting a cause, right? Because I think I've like the last one I did was for the Sudan Congo. Oh, there was a really long name. It was a really long auction name. It was one of those. That was the previous auction that I've won. I've participated in so many different auctions. I've also had my books in auctions before, which is really fun. So I love supporting stuff like this because, you know, it's all going to a good cause. And I've done ones before for Gaza, and I've done ones before for Lebanon and the queer liberation situation. So I love that. I don't think I mentioned that enough, but like if there's any little way you can support these kind of causes, like getting in with book binds for a cause, that's the one that my book was in last time, or I had my trilogy in that, and someone won that and I shipped it off, which is very cool. I don't know, like I love being part of that kind of stuff. I've won like art. This beautiful art piece was done for me through that auction. I've won books before through the auctions and stuff like that, and the query package. So a little something you can keep your eyes open for if you do not have necessarily a ton of exposable income and you want to get opinions from people in the industry. This could be a fun way to just keep your eyes open for, to see if you can kind of get in for like the manuscript critiques or the query critiques, just to get, help on it. And the smaller auctions like this Ramadan one, I'm probably going to get it for $35 US, which is crazy, because usually paying for a service like that, because I know actually a lot of authors and agents and that kind of a thing and professionals in the industry do offer these kinds of services on their websites and stuff like that. So, and they usually go for pretty expensive. So I'm excited either way. Anyways, that is the yap. That is the update, my friends. First week down. I love that. And I'm not mad that I skipped a day, because the day before I worked for hours. I was hooked on this fucking notebook hours. I was working for hours, so it kind of made up the next day that I didn't do my hour, right? So, not mad about it. Very happy with my progress so far in March. I am now going to buckle in and do my hour. I'm going to lock in. I think I'm going to finish writing that scene that I started yesterday and see where else my brain wants to take me tonight, because I'm feeling a little simultaneously a little migrainey, which is not fun. So I'm gonna take an Advil and then see if I can lock in. But I feel like I'm also ready to like lock in. So weird duality right now. But that's the update, my friends. I'll catch you again probably in a week for another update. Hello, friends. Happy March 17th. It's St. Patrick's Day. Don't worry, I have a green shirt ready for me to go to work with when I go to teach. I'm feeling all sorts of terrible right now, though. I've had like a pressure headache all day that's just slowly gotten worse despite the Advil that I've taken. We're here anyways. Oh my god, hello, friends. It has been a week since I last talked to you. I have lost steam. I've lost the shine and luster on this project. My fuck. I'm so sad about that, because I don't know what happened last week, but my original plan was to, as I said in this last clip, to do the week, like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday tryout, like doing the hour of work right after work. That did not fucking work. That did not do anything. I tried it on Wednesday and my brain was immediately like, what are we doing? We had plans to go get a pre-order and plans to go do this and plans to go do that and pick up your Staples order. What do you mean we're sitting here for longer? So I did a very little on that Wednesday because my brain was fighting me the whole time. That was mostly my fault, because I had planned in my head, I was like, oh, it's Wednesday. After work on Wednesday, I can go get the pre-order that I have waiting for me at my local bookstore, and also go get the Staples print off, which included this timeline that is now behind me on my wall. So I was like, great, I'll go do that. And then I remembered halfway through the day, I was like, oh no, I'm supposed to be doing my hour after work, because I'm so used to just like getting up after work and going to do something on Wednesday, even if that's literally just going to the library or something, or like just moving to my couch and like having a chill moment. Like, I don't know what it is, but I had built a plan in my head, and then I was like, motherfucker, I can't follow the plan. So then I sat here for an hour and I tried to write, and the scene that I was trying to write was just not doing anything. Like, my brain was just like, every sentence I'm writing right now is dumb and stupid and bad. And it was like, I'm not saying that, my brain was just saying that. Like, every sentence that I was trying to write was not in my usual like writing style. It was not smooth. My brain was just refusing to. So I changed tactics and I planned out the scene instead, because the scene I was trying to write was, because I have now gone back and I still need to do a little bit of this, but like, I've decided to re-edit the 20,000 words that I've written, because I want to implement the change that I had talked about earlier in this video. Like, changing that little thing in the beginning is a ripple effect. So I need to change all of it. But because of that, I was going to have to write a brand new scene for when my characters get onto Thiramara Minor, which is, big moment when they get dropped off on this island. That moment has changed. So I'm like, I need to plan that scene out. How's that scene going to work? What are the beats? How are things going to go? And so I ended up doing that instead of trying to make myself write it. So I planned out the scene, and I still haven't written the scene. And that was almost a week ago, because it's Tuesday today. I have that scene written out. I have the beats written out. So basically just like, I have a transitionary scene idea of like how to bring us into this moment that I also have wanted to do for a little bit, because I wanted like just a little bit more time on the ship where they like kind of feel a little bit more real, instead of just have it be like a vehicle to get them plot beat wise. Like, I want it to feel like an actual thing. Wrote that down, just like time of day, where it is, who's there, what's happening, sounds, all that kind of stuff, top to bottom. And then, all that shit. Other things I can include in the scene, like what I want to do with Sage's magic, like the different things I want to mention, all that kind of stuff. I wrote that all down. Have I written the scene? No. Still haven't fucking written the scene. And then on Thursday, I don't even remember what I fucking did on Thursday. So let me pull up my notes app of like my March writing experiment, because I've been trying to keep track of what I've been doing every night. The last day I've taken notes is the 13th. So if that gives you any indication of how it's going, I have not worked on this shit since the 13th. The 11th, just explained. That's what I did. Brain wasn't braining. March 12th, mostly skipped. Why? Because I was working on finishing up my video that went up on the Friday. Didn't do fuck all on Thursday. And then we have March 13th, tried to do some work on the crew's backstory, which is what my brain kind of got stuck on that day, because I don't know if I mentioned in this vlog or not, but someone commented somewhere that the name of my adventuring crew, I've just called them the crew and most everything that I've talked about, because the name that I thought up was the Cavern Crew, which was a joke name for that, like them. It was a joke name for them, and I was just like, they're just referred to as the crew. And then someone in my comments, either on TikTok or on YouTube, I don't remember where, but I thank them for this, said basically like, you should probably change the name to something that is more unique for like fandom purposes. And I was like, you're right. So now my brain is stuck on that. I need to find a new name for them somehow. And then I was like, what if I plan out their backstory, like how they got together? What if I write that scene of like their meeting and that like moment and like whatever, maybe through that I'll like magically find a name or something, because I know through all of my research and shit with like trying to find a fucking adventuring party name, I have written down so many different words that I think are really fun, and like just words that I like that are kind of thematic for the story, but all these feel like forced and not right, and I don't know what's going on. I don't know, man. I've been stuck on this and I need to fucking, I don't know. And so I ended up writing, oh god, I tried to write a little bit of the crew's backstory. I tried to brainstorm some of it, and then that night I tried to draft it, and I wrote exactly 89 words of a scene in a story that is not even going to be in a book of mine. Like, it is something that is just to get me a name. Like, maybe at some point it'll be included as like extra material in something, but like, this is not, this is useless. So my brain has not been working for the past week. And then I don't remember when the 13th was. Was the 13th? Oh, it was Friday. Friday the 13th. That's what happened. Saturday, did not work on this at all. Sunday did not work on this at all. And it was one of those moments where I was like, oh, I'll work on it later. And then Saturday, I felt really unwell part of the day, because for some fucking reason, my Lactaid pills have started fighting against me. And so I usually take my Lactaid pills to stop hurting from lactose, right? If I have like pizza, or if I go to a restaurant and have like a pasta or something that has lactose in it, what have you, I take them to like not be in super pain. So I took some on Saturday, and then an hour later I was curled up in a ball on my couch going, what the fuck? This is the same pain that I get from eating lactose. What's happening? I took Lactaid pills, and then the next day I ate something slightly different. I didn't eat those leftovers. I ate something slightly different just to see if it was the Lactaid pills. And then on Sunday, I was taken out again. So it's the Lactaid pills. Not happy about it. This weekend was a write-off. And then yesterday was Monday. And Mondays are my teaching day and my editing vlog days. And so I just wasn't going to get any work done. And so now it's Tuesday, March 17th. Of this fucking attempt and experiment. I'm not giving up, obviously. I'm still here. I'm going to try find a little bit of that spark again. I think brainstorming and like rereading some of what I have and just letting my brain do what it wants is probably going to be the better goal or attempt or trajectory of this week. We're going to see how that goes. But yeah, that attempt last week to see if I could use the hour right after work for writing was a fail, because my brain just didn't want to. So I'm going to try again this week. Tomorrow's Wednesday. I can probably try again tomorrow, but Thursday I have physio at 4 right after work. So after physio, when I come back, I also have to probably film a video. Who's to say what I end up doing on Thursday? Yeah, this writing experiment started out so good. And this week it took a big dip. But hopefully this week coming up goes back up again, because I would really like to be working on this. I'd really like to be actively like, feeding the brain, feeding the intentions and all that kind of stuff. So love that. But anyways, update. Yes, I got my timeline printed out, which I'm very excited about. And it's like nice and big. And every time I see it, I'm like, oh, it's so beautiful. Because it's all like all different colors and everything. Because I did that in my Procreate. And it's like Up close, like the writing is a little fuzzy, quality wise, I mean, but like it's so nice and legible from like here, which is what I need because these papers don't work very well. Hence the reason I wear glasses. So if it was any smaller, I would have a problem with it. I mean, day seven's text is really tiny, so I might have to get really close on that one. But day seven is so far away in this draft that I don't need to worry about that right now. But I would really like to fucking write this book. I just feel stuck and my brain is not doing anything. And you know, maybe it's the weather, maybe it's mental illness, maybe it's all of it. I say weather because it's currently a snowstorm right now. It's March 17th and we're getting snow, and everyone else on the fucking internet has spring right now, and I just want it to be spring because spring is so beautiful and warm. But where I live, we don't get spring until like maybe mid-April, maybe May. Like that's where we're at. And then we get like 2 weeks of it and it's hot. It becomes summer very suddenly. And I'm just like, I want it to be spring because spring feels so lighthearted and warm and amazing. Like spring for me brings feelings of like cleaning different things up or organizing things, and not necessarily like spring cleaning, but it is in that same vein. Like I redid all my shelves the other day because I am in the middle of that TBR side quest. I did a TBR side quest on haul version, chopping block version. I'm in the middle of that, and I've just ripped apart my shelves, removed so many books that I have a mountain of books behind my desk staring at me that I need to donate eventually. But like, girl, that is how spring cleaning has manifested in my head, and I would really like it to manifest in actual cleaning. That would be nice. Or productivity. I've lost a little bit of that productivity that I had at the beginning of March. So maybe it's just because we're in the middle of March and it feels a little bit slumpy. I don't know. Anyways, my friend, that is the update. I would love to come to you in the next update and say, guys, I wrote some words. Guys, I finished editing that chunk of 20,000 words. Guys, we're actually moving forward. We're making progress. You see what I mean? That's what I would really like right now, because I'm still in the beginning of Act 1 in the story. I'm still in the first 20,000 fucking words of this story, and there's probably going to be another 100,000 words in this thing, because knowing the way that I write my fantasy stories, they're big and beefy. Anyways. Oh, it's also Tuesday. So, fun fact, I am also a guest host on the Writing About Dragons and Shit podcast this month because B Dave is away being awesome in a movie. And so they asked me to take his spot for this month. So I'm going to be recording another episode of that later tonight, which is very exciting. So I recorded an episode last week with them. So fun to be back. We're doing it again tonight. So maybe I won't have time to actually do any writing tonight. But that's fine because it's Tuesday. Because usually Tuesday is my day off. But I've had 3 days off in a row. So who's to say? Anyways, I'm going to go take more Advil because the Advil I did take previously is not working. It's 3:09. I have a little bit of work left to do to make myself do. We'll see what happens for me. I feel like I'm getting a fever. That's where I'm at right now. I'm like overheating and that's the update. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Hello, friends. We are ending this vlog early. Why? This is part 1. This has already been a fairly beefy vlog, and I figured economically it's probably better if we split this here and then do part 2 in April rather than one big mama jama vlog. You know what I mean? So my friends, it is officially March 19th today. My God. I have been editing this vlog up until this point, and it's just so fun and terrifying and awful to see my change from being so peppy and so ready to go and have like actual progress in this to whatever the fuck the last clip was. And honestly, it is such a exact description of how this experiment has been going so far. And I think that's just because March has been kind of a mental shit show. I don't know what it is. Like Q1 of 2026 has been a mental shit show. Like just for all of us, I think we are all feeling it. Like I mentioned in a vlog clip previous that I chatted to my therapist about a lot of stuff and like things that we're working on. And I did ask her, I was like, are other people feeling so shitty in February and March? Like, is it just me or is like it a common denominator? And she goes, no, so many people. Like our collective nervous system is having so much shit to deal with on the daily basis because our world is burning that it's like we're all suffering. So, you know, you're not alone. Is what I can really say about that. We are not alone in our suffering or in our perhaps just like bullshit that we're dealing with right now. because the world is on fire and our nervous system is not built to deal with that. So maybe that's why March is so weird for me, because I was looking back at previous Marches, and like in 2025, I was working on draft 2 of Favorite Fae. I was finishing it up in March. And then in 2024, I was finishing up draft 1 of A Favorite Fae. And then in 2023, I was finishing up a second story to get that ready for publication. So I've been super productive the past few Marches in my life. And so the fact that this March hasn't been really productive is kind of grating on me a little bit. And I say that genuinely, because it's not, yes, I've been doing things, but I've also really struggled with keeping myself focused on these things. And I've noticed, like, I've just been so mentally drained. I've been so, I don't know, I've been feeling physically unwell as well for the past week and a bit for many different reasons. Like the fever that I had in the last clip was crazy. I don't actually know if I had a fever because I didn't have a way to check it. But I ended up having to cancel my recording with Aaron and Trevor that night because I felt so terrible and I was not really able to string sentences together. By the time I got home from work, I didn't do the recording that night. And I feel so bad because I'm like, that is like, they asked me to be a stand-in for B Dave and then I had to cancel because I was so sick. I felt so bad. And then I've just been dealing with terrible stomach issues for the past week and a half. Like they're all different. They're all stemmed weirdly. I don't know what's happening. March is something. But this writing experiment has definitely been interesting. And I think on top of like actually understanding that like it's okay that I'm not my most productive right now, just the fact that I'm trying is like all I can really hope for. I know it's like a whole argument with myself about like, you know, failure and feeling like a failure because I'm already behind and all this kind of stuff, which is dumb. And that's just my little rat brain telling me things that my rational brain knows are wrong. But like what this writing experiment has really done so far, I think, is not necessarily taught me to be kinder to myself, because I still am fighting with that rat brain of like it keeps telling me like, because I want to further on my career so much with writing, and I want to be working on that this year, and I want to be in a place where I am actively like pursuing that, where I'm like hunting down agents and like doing the networking and making my pitch better and like doing all that kind of stuff. I want to be in that stage. I want to be getting ready and like making the story better for, you know, myself and also for then querying down the road. Like I want to be there. I can't be there yet because I don't have a fucking book. I don't have this draft. I have not even written 25,000 words of this first draft, you know? So I need to be chill. But the fact that I don't have that, my rat brain is telling me that I'm behind and that I'm failing, which is stupid because failure is not even a thing when you're an adult. Failure is a concept that we are taught as kids because like and we are taught to fear it so much because our society thrives on capitalism and consumerism and the idea that if you take 3 seconds just to sit on your couch, you're being lazy. You know what I mean? Like that is all in the same essence for me, like the idea of failure, all this kind of stuff. You cannot fail at life because you are living your life. Like there's no such thing as failure, you know what I mean? So it's like the rat brain in us all is mean and wrong, and we need to remember that. And I think I need to be better at like reminding myself that, because I have been so down on myself this week because I have been so not productive and I haven't felt like I want to be productive and I've lost that motivation. And I know rationally also that I can't just wait for motivation to make me do stuff, because I know that I would never get anything done if I waited for motivation. So it's like it's trying to find a balance between that, like, yeah, no, I know I need to actually be kind to myself and like realize when I need to take breaks, when I need to, you know, chill because the world is on fire and my nervous system is on fire, you know, all this kind of stuff. But I also need to remember that I do need to not be too lenient on myself, because I do want to still get stuff done. And getting the stuff done makes me happy and makes me more motivated to keep working on things. So it's like a vicious cycle. You know what I mean? That's really what it is. So, anyways, since we last talked, it's been 2 days. And I only have one extra day of updates for you, because on that Tuesday I came home, and after having to cancel the recording session, and I was sitting here feeling like a jar of dirt really. I picked up my pencil and I wrote like 4 sentences of that scene. I was like, what if writing by hand? What if that unlocks it? It didn't. That was my Delulu brain talking that night. I don't know what kind of bullshit my brain was going through, my body was going through. I was unwell. And then yesterday, I actually wrote again. I wrote 400 and some odd words. And though that is not even close to my usual quote unquote writing session amount of words that I usually previously got, I'm very happy with that I actually did work on that fucking scene that seems to be the break in me, the break, like the block in my brain. I've also really noticed that this project, I don't know what it is, every single new book that I go to write, like if you've ever heard an author say that like every time they come back to writing a book, it's like learning how to write a book again, that is true. Every single book that I've written, I've come back to it and it's like relearning how to walk. Like I have no idea why it's like this, but like it's every single story is different, every process is different. I don't know what it is. This one specifically, Far Horizons, the book is coming to me very cinematically. Like I can see the scenes in my head like I'm watching a movie, and I'm trying to write the scenes down on paper, like trying to get that out of my head, and it's not working. It's not, I don't know what it is. Like it's like this weird, it's not a smooth, like I'm picturing the scene and the words are flying. It's a struggle to get the words from in here into the paper or onto the paper or onto the screen, down on the keyboard, like all this kind of stuff. So it's interesting to have the story so cinematically in my head, but every scene that I have in my head that I want to write is just like it's in my head like a fucking movie. And I love that because it's beautiful, it's wonderful. I can see it, I can picture it. I just have to write it. And for some reason that process of getting it from my head onto the page, it's never easy with this one. This one is like pulling teeth. I don't know, man. It's something about this book is like pulling teeth. And I don't know, maybe it's because it's coming off of not having drafted for a really long time, or I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm too in my head about things. I really couldn't tell you. But it's been an interesting writing experiment for sure. And I think going forward, there are a couple things that I do need to do and I am planning on doing in this writing experiment, but I will talk about that in part 2 because my phone is dying. And I do need to end this vlog. So far, good things that have happened in this experiment is that we have planned more in Far Horizons. We have created characters. We have changed the beginning to be better. I still need to continue doing that. There are a couple more scenes that I need to flow better with that change. And I need to finish the scene that I've been writing that is apparently a mental block of mine. I don't know why. And I have also picked an adventuring name for the Cavern Crew. They're rebranded, my friends, to the Dusk Walkers. They are the Dusk Walkers, the Walkers for short. I think that's fun and spicy, and I think it's a better name than the Cavern Crew. Even though calling them the Crew has always been like just an offhand thing, calling them the Walkers I think is an interesting idea, and it kind of is a little thematic to the story as well, and I think works better with the story. And I think that now that idea block of mine of like I was so stuck on trying to figure out their backstory and their new name, I think I can go forward from here. So I will see you in part 2 of this vlog. We will see how the rest of March goes in this writing experiment. But so far, at least, thank you so much for hanging out with me during March and this March experiment as we're going forward, trying to write for at least an hour every day, or at least working on my creative project for an hour every day. It's sort of working so far. We've had an interesting couple weeks. Let's see how the rest of March goes in part 2. I'll catch you in another video very soon. Stay kind and keep on writing.